Hello guys, it's your boy Thomas.Jaff. You can follow me on Instagram as Thomas.Jaff. So today we'll talk about different things, and let's start with an atom. We say an atom is the smallest part of unit of life, or the smallest part of a substance that cannot be broken or divided into smaller parts anymore. And an atom is in atom itself, inside there is always protons and neutrons, and around the protons and neutrons, they are surrounded by electrons, and electrons are negatively charged while protons are positively charged. Neutrons are not charged, so that's why they're known as neutrons. So let's also look and talk about molecule. So when two atoms come together, molecule is when two atoms come together and form something. So a good example is oxygen atom. When it's combined with two hydrogen atoms, they help us to get water molecule. So another question of today is how atoms bond together to form a molecule. That's what I've talked in the previous slide. So this is when oxygen atom come together with two hydrogen atom. They give us, when these two of these combine together, they help us, or they give us water molecule. So when oxygen atom bind with two hydrogen atom to fill its valence shell by sharing one electron from each hydrogen atom, they give us water molecule. So there is always something like this in every cell, and this is known as shell. Okay, so when we look at the oxygen atom, it has 6 electrons in this shell, but still this shell, there is, in this shell they can fit, there is 8 electron can fit in this shell. So also when you look on the other side of hydrogen has got only 1 electron, so they're always hungry, they want to get more. So when these two meet, oxygen is satisfied because it will have a total of 8 complete cells, a total of 8 complete electrons. And also on the other side, hydrogen will also be excited because it will have a total of 2 electrons. So let's talk about the cell. We said that cell is the smallest independent functioning unit of all organisms, or we can say cell is a basic living block of all living things. So some of the parts of the cells are shown below, and you can see central cell membrane, nuclear membrane, ribosomes, sites where protein are synthesized. We have nucleus, lysosome, we have mitochondrion, where respiration takes place and energy is produced. We have cytoplasma. This is like a float, float inside the cell or it holds all cell structures. So let's get some definition of the function of some part of the cell. We say that cell membrane control the flow of substance in and out of the cell. Yeah, DNA, the genetic instruction the cell needs to make protein. This is the center, the genetic instruction, it gives the instruction. on how the cell need to make protein. And cytoplasm, as we said before, is the watery substance that contain all the cell structures. So there is always two types of cells. We have prokaryotes and we have eukaryotes. And on the side of prokaryotes, this one they lack nucleus. And a good example is bacteria. This type of cell they only have one cell. While eukaryotes, example of eukaryotes are plants, animals, and some unicellular organisms as well. So eukaryotes cell have nucleus, while prokaryotes doesn't have nucleus. One also most important thing is that eukaryote cell contain organelles where life-sustaining activities take place. So some of good example is Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, which is energy provider for the cell. We have vacuoles, we have nucleus, which control our activity in the cell. We have endoplasmic reticulum, we have chloroplast for the plant, which help the plant to make food by the use of sun. Also, we also need to look at the unicellular organism are made up of only one cell that carry out all of the function needed by the organism. So this is an example of prokaryote. And while multicellular organism use many different cells to function, this is an example of eukaryote cells, and we can find this in plants, animals, and human beings like me and you. So a human being can move, or some of the characteristics of living things is that living things can move, can sense, can grow, can reproduce, can excrete, and they need food too. So let's talk about cell, tissue, organ, and organ system. We have looked before, we say cell, the smallest part of the body that help body to function. So when many cells or when two cells combine together, or when cells come together, or when one type or when similar cells come together, they help us to form a tissue. So when similar cells come together, they form a tissue. And when similar tissue come together, they form an organ. And example of an organ that can be created or made or formed is heart, let's say heart or stomach. So when different or similar types of organ come together, when they interact, they help us to get something that's known as organ system. And example is when you combine heart, organ, and all those kind of things will come with something like respiration system, will come with digestive system, and many more. So also when systems and system interact together, they come and they help us to form organism. So like a human being like me and you. So this also work or is applied also on plants. So when similar cells come together, they form tissue, and when similar tissue come together, they form organ, and when similar organ come together, they help us to form organ system. And when system come together, when they interact, they help us to form organism. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you.